Hi everyone, my name is Chantel and welcome to another video. It is the first Friday of the month and today I'm creating the 14th Harry Potter Matchbox Diorama for you. If you would like to catch up on all the other ones, I will leave a link in the iCard section. So let's see what the 14th Harry Potter Matchbox Diorama will be. All the old ones. And it will be the Potions Classroom. So let's get going. As with all my matchboxes, I am starting off by creating my own matchbox from scratch. The Potions Classroom will be a landscape matchbox. This is because it is a dungeon where the Potions Classroom is located, and I thought the ceilings are a little bit lower than in the rest of the castle. Even though this matchbox would be a little bit more simple than matchbox number 13, it is still going to be dimensional and I think very nice in the end. So I've cut out the windows that will sit at the very back of the diorama and then going to cover it with this acetate to resemble glass. And of course some cross-hatching for some leaded glass. Then here I'm cutting out the first layer of the diorama that will sit in front of the windows. However, I first need to put the actual matchbox together at this point. Then moving back to that archway that I just cut out that will sit in front of the windows. With a ball stylus, I am just going to etch in all the details into the wall. And then it's time for painting. I'm first going to cover the window part. I can scratch out where the actual windows are in the end when the paint is dry. And then of course painting the wall a very dark brown. It's a dark brown mixed with a little bit of black. And just covering the whole wall in that same paint. When that is dry, I'm going to dry brush on some ivory acrylic paint, just to let those details stand out a little bit more. And then with some iridescent brass or gold ink, I'm going to paint around that archway. Those arches have some Latin writing or Latin potion ingredients written on them, so I'm just going to imply that here. It's not actual writing, it's just black paint on top of the gold. And then here I'm scratching away the acrylic paint that I painted over the windows. And then this is what we have after that. Now, before I put any other layers in that create a depth in this diorama, I have to put the floor in. So from some watercolor paper, I cut out the right size that is going to be the floor. And I'm just going to etch in those details again. I haven't done this for my previous dioramas, but I found out through doing this and trying it out that it actually works pretty well. I've painted the floor black with some acrylic paint and I'm dry brushing the ivory on top to bring out the details. And then before anything else, I'm gluing that into place. And then painting the ceiling a very dark brown because of course we cannot just leave that brown. It needs to tie in with the rest of the diorama. And then I'm going to place this first wall in. Now sometimes things go wrong with my dioramas as well, and you can see me doubt here, should I use this tip, should I not? And yep, I'm going for it, but this tip is way too thick for this diorama and look at all that glue that comes out. So now I'm thinking, oh yep, let's remove that and try again with a smaller needle tip. So here we are again with a smaller needle tip, and this applies way better, thinner, and it just looks way neater. This glue will all dry clear and you won't see this in the end, so it's all going to be fine. But yeah, here's just one of my struggles. Now that's all nice and dry and you cannot see my error anymore. Let's move on to the next part, and that is putting in the 2 side walls in this diorama. So they will glue together like so, but I'm going to cut out some arches first from the 2 side walls that are like next to the other arch, because there are some nooks and crannies in these dungeons that don't really display well in the film. If you have stills of the film, you can definitely see all these little side passageways. And what you can see me do here is again etching in all those details into the walls. Then before I paint them, I just glue the 2 sections together like this. And then this is what I want it to look like. Before I start painting these pieces, I want to create another piece that will sit just in the middle above the already back archway that is in front of the windows, because it will add an extra layer of dimension, and there are so many archways in the dungeons that it's very hard to create in such a small scale, but I think I'll make it work. And then of course I'm painting these pieces the same color as the other wall. Then some dry brushing with the ivory again. Painting the side walls. And the outside of the matchbox as well. And the golden archways. And of course, we cannot forget the lettering on the archways. And then it's time to glue all these pieces into the diorama. First the 2 side parts and then the part in the middle. I struggled a little bit because it's not an easy angle, but I got there in the end. I kept the outside of the diorama very, very simple, mainly because it's the dungeons and everything is dark. So just painting it with the same dark brown and putting a very simple door inside the front. I am painting the arch that is on the inside of the door gold as well. These little pieces of cardboard will be the shelves that all the potions will sit on. Just placing all these little shelves inside the diorama, and I'm placing some larger ones at the front as well. And then for the last shelf, and this is what we have so far. Off camera I painted the other shelves black as well, so they are now tied in nicely in the diorama. Of course we have to put some pieces on those shelves, and I've got all these tiny little beads, and most of them come from a thrift store where I just bought a bunch of necklaces, cut them all up and put all these little beads in a bag just to be used inside dioramas. I thought the top of the diorama looked a little bit bare without a lamp, so with a bead cap and a little bead that I glued together, I'm just gluing this into place to act as a lamp. Then we are missing one more thing, and that is the table where the potions are made, which is a main or key element in the movie. So I'm going to make a little table out of balsa wood. I am cutting out a piece that will be the tabletop and then painting the tabletop with a watered down acrylic paint that will just stain the wood. I also added some little table legs, also made out of balsa wood. I just glued them on with some super glue. A lot of glue was used in this video, I can tell you that. A lot of super glue and a lot of wood glue. For the cauldrons that will sit on the table, I'm just using some larger beads than I used for the potions. So you get that distinction between an actual cauldron and a potion bottle. And just gluing them on top of the table, plus some other ingredients. And just putting some final bits and pieces in, and let's see what it looks like when it's all put together. And this is it for the 14th Harry Potter Matchbox Diorama. This one was a bit more simple than Matchbox 13, but I do like how the Potions Classroom turned out. If you would like to support me, you can do so by signing up for my Patreon. You can find the link in the end card of this video or in the description box below. And if you're new here, welcome! Please don't forget you can click the subscribe button to become part of the Raven family. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!